little video I'm recording will be a brief on project 1. You can find a link to it in the week 6 folder and click here, or you can go to the assignments tests and then scroll down to the project 1 folder and then find all the information on it here. And we can just click this PDF to get the brief about project 1. And again, just to put your guys' mind at ease, because I know you guys have midterms to focus on and everything. The due date currently for this is November 10th. So that's almost a full month away. So it will be 20% of your mark. It is a bigger chunk of your mark and it is individual, but don't stress too much. Focus on your midterms. I just want to give you guys lots of heads up and lots of warning, just so you guys are aware about it and you can start working on it if you want to, but you can also totally relax over a reading break and kind of reset as well. So this project will be individual and it's a chance for you. I actually think this project's really practical for you to brag about yourself and make a portfolio that shows off all the work you guys have done in the MDEV program. So basically at the end of semester 1 and 2, you'll have this website that's going to be a customized portfolio that's really professionally designed, that shows off who you are as a developer, your education history, your development history and work history, and some of the best showcases of apps that you've developed in your developing career. So it'll show you like the phases that you went through in the SDLC with design and documentation and planning and Scrum, and you'll have all of this awesome stuff with screenshots of the apps and how they work, and you can even host the app files if you want people to be able to download them from there. But that's kind of what we'll end up with. So this is going to be the first version of your mobile portfolio website, right? This course we're in is called Mobile App Portfolio. So I think it's pretty fundamental that we actually create a portfolio at some point. So to me, what you're going to submit is a URL. It's just going to be a link on Blackboard, and changes are allowed after this, but don't make the changes until your submission is graded, because if it's hosted live and you make a change, then I'm not going to know what was, submitted for the first part of the project or what was changed after. Obviously, I'll grade these right away once you submit them, but just to keep that in mind, it's just a URL. So you can submit, static stuff to me, but I think it makes sense for this to be hosted live, just in case you want to show it to a future potential employer at some point. So on this page, there's going to be 2 pages that I'm mostly concerned about for this project. I'm going to zoom in actually, if it's a little bit easier for you guys to read. So there's the projects page, which is going to be the bulk of it, which is 15%. And then there's going to be an about page or an about section, which is 5%. So pretty straightforward. The projects page will display 4 projects that you've worked on as a mobile app developer. So you can have them all on their own page if you want, or you can have them, a projects page, and then when you click one, it expands. You can design it however you want. I'm not going to be too fussy with how the website's actually designed. I'm more so just concerned about the content for now. But an example, you can showcase your iOS app, your Android app, your cross-platform app, a game that you've developed, and even your mobile portfolio group project app that we're doing in this course. You can start to show that off. Obviously, the apps aren't finished yet, or maybe you don't have a lot of those apps finished, so you're going to showcase what you can. But try to showcase your very best stuff. It's a public showcase of what you can use to show off your skills. So the main things I've bolded here for what I'm looking for each application. So for each project, out of the 4 that you're uploading, you'll have this for each section. So you'll have the project name itself, the logo, and the slogan, if it has one. If it doesn't, don't worry about designing one. But if it does have one, just upload it. Makes it look more professional. The about the project, so just a couple sentences. It doesn't have to be a massive paragraph, just a really quick, brief description of the purpose and what problem it solves, who it's for, how it works. Your role. So did you manage the project? Were you part of a team? Were you, the database guy? Did you do most of the front end development, back end development? What processes were you involved with? So that's also a really quick one to fill out. Your process, so documentation, so UML diagrams, wireframes, mockups, designs, etc. How did you arrive at the design that the users are seeing? as the end product. So how did you get there? What was the process? What was the different stages you took? If you don't have a ton, obviously I know for this course you guys do have UML diagrams, so I'd hope to see that at least for this project. If you don't have them in the other courses, you can make rough SketchUps. But yeah, that's what the documentation section is about. Then the final section here, screenshots of the application screens in a well-designed, organized block. So here's an image kind of showing what that might look like. This shows the reader what your app's all about, with examples of how the app looks on a device, showing off your app design skills. So you can actually get these little skins or Android wrappers or iPhone wrappers, and put your app inside of that so that it looks really neat. And there's an example page here. If we go to this one, and I'll just open that up in another tab. And notice how clean his home screen is, the About Me section, and then his work tab that cleanly show off all of his web-based projects. So kind of try to emulate something similar to that, where you can insert a mobile phone image instead of the website. So let's take a look at what he's got here. So here, like I said, with the phone wrapper, kind of cool, with basic design or wireframe. This one's got a web browser. So if I actually click, each of these are projects he's worked on, Help Scout, Shape. So if I click this, it'll take me to /work/Help Scout on his web page. And then I can go down and I can kind of look at this entire project's life history on his site. So you can see what's the problem. So he defines it here. And then a couple screenshots, crafting for mobile. So how did he do it? And then here's his, rough wireframes and mock-ups that he actually literally drew on paper. So if you have those, put those in. They're really interesting. Some high-level sketching. And then he moved into, some actual design, grid considerations, and topography. And then moving down, we get into the actual hi-fi UI design. And this is where you can include the stuff that you make in Adobe XD. Here again, he's included like a little animation of how the app works. And if you have that, then include that. If you don't have that yet, then include it when you do have it, right? And then obviously, he was the product designer. That was his work position. The organization was this, and the year that he did it. So you guys can include all of that information. If we look at another example, I don't know if he's got another. Let's see. He made some plugins for Figma. And again, here we've got the design, some rough overview. This one's a little bit more basic, but that first example I showed you is really very close to what I'm looking for. And then here, the last one, this kind of is a sneaky one. It's underneath number 5, underneath these images is a design scheme, a list of your colors, topography, fonts. So just like this right here, they've got their hex codes, the topography, the font name, all of that good stuff. Cool. And then the other page is basically like an online resume. It's an about section, so it just allows employers to briefly glance into who you are, what's your background, what do you bring to the table. So have an introduction about yourself as a developer, what's your brand, what do you enjoy working on, what apps have you enjoyed working on in the past, how do you get along in teams. Any of those are totally fair game to talk about. And then just a little section about your education history and your employment history, how long you've worked there, what your responsibilities were, technologies that you used or programming languages that you learned. So here's an example of, his employment history, what his responsibilities were, the title of his position, the company, and then the dates. Obviously, that's very similar to a resume. And then the education, same thing, the location of the school, the program title, the years that he attended, and then experience, in graphic design, typography, layout. Maybe you have experience in C++ or another language and you want to list it. And then social media links. If you have a GitHub or a LinkedIn, that's really good to include on your website, obviously. And then a way to contact. So if you wanted to put a web form or just an email, something simple like a phone number or something like that, totally whatever you're comfortable with is the final part for the about section. So that is project 1. It's an individual thing. So these are going to be personalized portfolios to each person. but you can include references to your group project for one of the project pages. Cool. Any questions on that one?
Are we going to be going over web design a little bit before it's due?
Yep. So I've got a lot of resources that we can cover today and then also next week for web design. So
Perfect. Thank you.
yeah, we're gonna cover Bootstrap, basic HTML and CSS. Obviously, this isn't a web design course, so I'm not judging you guys on um, if it's like super professional or not. Obviously, it should be clean and there should be, you know, no spelling mistakes because we all know how to do that kind of stuff. But I will give you guys some tools to work with. Obviously, you know, WordPress and that kind of stuff if you want to go that route, or you know, Bootstrap if you want to go from scratch and use that framework. So, a couple examples or exemplars just to show you from the past what some people have built. Let's see if this works. Okay. So here's a website, and this is his portfolio. He did it on Wix. Okay, so this is just the homepage, just a picture of him, and just like a nice hi welcome message. And then we can click up here, this in this nav bar to kind of navigate around. And here's some of the apps that he's worked on. So Easy Park, there's the title and then the description. And then we've got some screenshots, obviously, of how the app works. These are a little bit small for me, for my liking. I can't really see them. Um, and then description of, you know, what each screen or what each intent of the app is doing. Then we've got some of the design background, the wireframe. I would have liked some description about, you know, how he came to this conclusion and why he chose to do this the way he did. But and then there's some features down here, and then, you know, the team that worked on it. Um, and then here's his next project: content guide, the Firebase login, preference features, you know, some of the different screens for watching the trailers, some of the wireframes there, the team, and their roles. And then the about me is kind of the online resume portion that I was talking to you guys about. So there's, you know, what he's interested in, what he likes, and then the education history. There's some nice fade-ins and whatnot there, but it's, yeah, it's just his education history. And if you have work history, there's social media links down there. And then if you want to contact, then there's also the contact page to get in touch. So pretty cool. Let's see if I've got another example. Um, let's see if this opens. I think I liked this one. Okay, this is a video, but hopefully okay. Sec, I'll just drag it over. So this is the home page. I'm talking over it, but basically I'm looking over this submission for project one, and this is a really good example of a submission. So there's the intro, there's his name. We can see the two projects that he's listed. Obviously, you guys are going to have four. At this point, there's only two. And he has filters set up to see all of them or just ones from mobile applications. So if you had web designs or if you had desktop applications, you could filter that too. Some nice little touches here about his personal hobbies, and then a footer here for some about and contact information. If I click one of these projects, I can see them in a detailed window, and it changes the link to a different page. Obviously, it's a different URL, and here's the about, all the planning documentation and the wireframes. Then going down, it shows me some of the login screens and the different screens and the abouts and how they work. If you wanted to do animations or GIFs of your app actually working, then you could do that too. And then here's the UI design with the color scheme and the fonts, and then related projects at the bottom. Really cool. What else? Here's his about page. So this was nice. He's got his contact info, a nice little image, it's centered, and then he added some of these icons for his skill levels, a little description, and then his employment history with some nice styling. But obviously, if you're not super comfortable in web design, then it might not look this professional, but we'll get it there throughout the next semester and a half. So I'll probably stop the recording about around here. I'm wondering if I've got one more example to show you guys. No, I think that's it. I'll stop the recording here. Is there any other questions before I stop it, just in case the questions are helpful when you guys rewatch the video? No more questions?
How much time do we have for this website and
So
post?
this one is due, obviously, you don't have to work on it over the reading break. It is due November 10th right now, which is a Wednesday, and we'll kind of gauge how everyone's doing with it. So November 10th is just under a month away. So 3 weeks, I would say, but yeah, it'll probably be, you'll have at least 2 weeks to work on it after reading break. And then if you wanted to get started on early, you can. I wanted to just introduce it so you guys were ready and you could prepare materials or images or whatever resources for it there. And obviously it'll change as we go. So this is the first version. So obviously I'm not expecting super professional design like that. That was me showing you guys finished versions of people's portfolios with really professional design. So obviously, you know, it'll be a changing dynamic thing as the project evolves. Your website will get better and better each version that we submit. Cool?
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, I'll stop that recording there.